Another weekend on Tyneside. Welcome everybody, Loaded Mag. The lads are
Evening.
already. Pete and Rich were already on talking about the Howe handover. Catch that if you've missed it. A great show. I've stopped on the. I have no idea what that was. I'm
That
Martin.
was well rehearsed. Fucking hell. Amateur hour again. Welcome to Amateur Hour, but we're here to talk about NUFC. Well done. Keep going, Daz.
We'll keep going. Yeah. So where should we start, lads? We do have a guest tonight. We have Evan from NUFC 360 joining us shortly. He's not with us yet, but he should be along shortly. Yeah, there's lots to talk about. A busy week. But you know what? Before we get into it, and before we forget, I think we should talk about our new sponsor.
Breaking news, Dad. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Is it there?
It's there.
Well done, Richie. You primed him. He was nearly ready. Well done.
Yeah.
I'll shut all this down. Just remember, I'll shut all this down. Okay, so yeah, breaking news. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, 1892. What is all that about? Well, to tell us more, and as I remove my banner and I play a little video for you, this is what it's all about. Yes, it's a new clothing line that is launching and is going to be our sponsor. So, Martin, here's the screenshot, and tell us all about this.
Yep, absolutely. So, 1892 United.com. So, I seen this floating around about a week or so ago, and I reached out to Bronwyn, who is the MD stroke CEO owner. And I said, listen, we've got this YouTube channel. We do Loaded Mag. You know, you are launching a brand new brand, clothing, 1892. How would you consider, or how would you like to be a sponsor for Loaded Mag? So in fairness to her, she came back and she said, okay, tell me about your channel. What's your reach? So I sent her some details, told her what we've been doing, who we've had on, everything else. And she said, yeah, I think that could be something that works. So basically, Bronwyn is launching a brand new clothing range in Newcastle. The website goes live on the 1st of December, but she is launching early on where you can enter your email and you can get ahead of the posse before she launches on the 1st of December. Get your name in, you get all the details, you get all the pre-hits and everything else. But what she's going to do, which I think is really, really special, is when she launches 1892united.com on the 1st of December, she is going to run that first month, every piece of clothing and item that she sells on 1892united.com for the month of December, all of those profits will go to the Newcastle Food Bank. So I think that is absolutely amazing. She has come on board, and as you can see from her brand logo there, she is going to be the new sponsor for Loaded Mag. So what we've agreed is she is going to come on next week and tell us all about 1892united.com. She's going to tell us all about the brand. She's going to tell us about what she's launching, what she's going to be doing on the website, what she's going to be selling. She is also going to give us some giveaways every month on Loaded Mag that we can give to the viewers, be it T-shirts or other bits and pieces. And I fully and firmly believe that that brand in Newcastle is going to absolutely take off and be massive. So from my perspective, having spoken to her and having been in contact over the last few days, from the point of Loaded Mag and the channel Loaded HQ, we are absolutely delighted to have Bronwyn on board and be part of her journey. We're going to make sure that we get all of her news, brand, and everything else out. She is going to put some links to our channel on her side, but we're going to promote her. We're going to look after her. We're going to help her grow on her journey in Newcastle, across the internet, and everywhere else. So if you are a Geordie, you want some class 1892 clothing that Bronwyn is producing, get in there now. 1892united.com. Get on, get your email in, get yourself on board. And when it launches December 1st, as I said, everything that goes on sale, everything that she puts through for that first month of December, everything is going to the NUFC Food Bank. So fair play to Bronwyn. Massive venture for her. It's a huge new journey. So I wish her all the very best. Absolutely delighted to partner with her. And here's to a very long and prosperous sponsorship and a partnership with Bronwyn and 1892united.com.
Exactly. And Martin, I'm just going to show people where, if they, because I did this just before the show.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Go along to the website, 1892united.com, and just stick your email address in there. And I'm sure we'll get an email when the site launches, and you'll be the first to see the new range. And we'll hear more about that next week, as Martin just said. So that's interesting. And what's also interesting is we don't have Chris tonight, and we haven't been asked to model for this range yet. I'm sure that'll come in time. But
Chris is tonight, mate.
Sorry?
It's where Chris is tonight.
Yeah, that's where Chris is.
Yeah.
Well,
this
guy can stand in. He can stand in instead of Chris tonight. We can leave him here. He can stand
I tell you what, in fairness, if that lad there was coming on the show, we'd be getting a lot more views than we are tonight. Has to be said.
Right. Let's get on with the show. And Evan will be along with us shortly. But where should we start, lads? Do you want?
Now it's happened, man. Now it's happened.
We're still waiting. Where are you, Eddie? Where are you, Eddie? Come on, man. How are you?
Let's start talking about Eddie Howe. I think, lads, that's where all the talk is. Who's happy with the? I know you twitched on it last night. Pete's definitely happy.
Me and Pete, to be fair. I'll go first then. So yeah, a few weeks back, we were talking about managers and everything else, and I did put a tweet out saying, "Do you know what? We could do a lot worse than Eddie Howe. I think he's a great tactician. I think he's what we need. Everything else." And to be fair, I got shot down in flames. Took a little bit of grief, everything else. But me and Pete were talking about this on one of the shows the other week, and we've obviously seen a whole heap of stuff on YouTube, everything else where he's talked tactician. In particular, the one that I enjoyed. If you haven't watched it, get onto YouTube. First thing to do is obviously subscribe to Loaded HQ. That's the first thing you've got to do when you got on YouTube. But outside of that, get onto YouTube, look up Eddie Howe, and he does a bit of a tactician's masterclass on one of the Premier League shows. And I think it's the Liverpool game when he talks about how he set up his team with Bournemouth against Liverpool. Great to have you.
Is it the Chelsea one, Mark?
Banana.
It could be Chelsea or Liverpool, but anyway, he sets up and he talks about it. But it is absolutely fascinating. And there's a lot more videos that we've kind of been shuttling around each other, everything else. So me, for one, and I think Pete is of the same vein. I'm sure he'll talk a bit in a second. But I think Eddie Howe is exactly what we need right now. And we can talk Fonseca. We can talk what happened with Emery, everything else. But I think Eddie Howe will come in. I think he will do a great job. I think he will get us playing the right way. And I think he will surprise a lot of people. That's me. I hope this video doesn't come back to haunt me that he doesn't do. He does a crap job. But I think he will surprise a good few. But Pete, I think we're on the same kind of track, mate. What's your view?
100%. If anyone's followed us all on matters and followed the match day lives, I've been talking about Eddie Howe for roughly about a year now, in terms of me wanting him to be our next manager. Now that was obviously in the previous regime under Mike Ashley. Anyone is effectively better than Bruce. However, for me, in this new ownership right now, in the predicament that we're in, as you just said, Martin, I think he's an ideal person to take over this crop of players. Now, we've gone through the obvious stuff, which is, he knows Callum Wilson, Matt Ritchie, Ryan Fraser very well. But what I like about Eddie Howe is that he gets teams playing and playing well. Now, we can talk and dispel a lot of the different conversations about goals conceded or the rest of it. In fact, watch the show that me and Rich have just been on with Tom Jordan from AFC Bournemouth fan, and he'll dispel some of those opinions as well about goals conceded too. He's just a manager. He's just a manager that breeds confidence. He is the modern day football manager. He is just a modern day football manager, and for all of what he's done so far in his career, the guy's only 43 years old. He's still got so much more to give in this game. He's ready now for his next step, and what better step than have the resources of the richest club in the world to be given the license to develop and bring the style of football that actually us fans crave. If you look back in the history, Bobby Robson, Kevin Keegan, the entertainers, we play attacking style football. That's what Eddie Howe does. Yes, we can see goals, but we also score a lot of goals too. Now, who does that remind you of? That reminds you of Kevin Keegan and Sir Bobby Robson in the days in which we played our best football. We didn't keep clean sheets. We smashed goals. Made things interesting. That's what he's going to bring to this team. So I'm really, really excited about what he can bring to this crop of players. The talk about Emre, the talk about Fonseca, it's nice, and I did say I think it's really, really, it intrigued me about the potential of having a foreign manager. But actually, for me, having an English manager in the pick of the bunch in terms of the English managers, and having a young English manager that can really put his stamp on this team, it just excites me a lot. And I honestly think that once he gets to grips with this team and he starts putting out his formation, his philosophy, his style of play, I don't believe we'll be in a relegation battle for long.
Cheers, Pete. Sorry, Martin, I muted you there because it's just for the background noise.
I know it's my kids are making pizzas in the kitchen and they're fucking singing and doing whatever in the background. And but at least tonight they're not dancing under the stairs where I normally do this show from, which is good.
No, that's okay.
I know you did mute me. I know, but I think Pete, to make up your point, I think obviously the last couple of days we've been watching Twitter and we went through the Emery piece and. It is what it is, and it's clear that it's me, Mr. Kiwi. That's not Richard Keys, is it? Hope not. But anyway, the Emery thing. Obviously, what happened? Get out, quick! I want to tell you, get out. I think what happened. Part of that is look. I think this consortium will make some mistakes, right? They're new to it. And I think they obviously leaked some of the news and they got ahead of it. And with Emery in particular, they announced some stuff on the day of a Champions League game and everything else. And none of that helped, right? And that happens. But I think in particular with Eddie Howe, all I've seen over the last couple of days from some is focusing on the negative, which is, oh my God, he didn't do great. He was manager at Bournemouth. They got relegated, everything else. Whereas I texted Richie last night and I said, hang on, I'm going to focus on the positive, which is he took them from basically Division 2 to the Premier League, kept them there for 5 years in a stadium that's smaller than Doncaster Rovers. So let's be realistic with what we need now. And I think a couple of shows ago we spoke about what kind of manager we need, what do we need to do, and everything else. And I said, as we progress, we need a continental style manager, because as we grow players and as we start to sign people, we will need a manager that can manage a more continental team as we sign different players. But for right now, and for what we need right now, I am 100% certain that Eddie Howe will do us exactly what we need. And if it is the case, he signs on and he brings his team with him, I'm 100% behind him, and we go for what we got, and we get ourselves out of trouble, make some good signings in January, and I think he'll do a really, really good job. And I think we need to sign on, we need to get behind him, and we need to make sure that we welcome him with open arms. That's me.
Yep. I'm going to jump in next, Richie, if that's okay.
Yeah,
my take. I've always said, everyone knows I always wanted Rafa in, and I know it was that boat sailed when he joined Everton, but it's still thought there it might happen over the last couple of days. But then Emery, that was interesting. It was something different, and I know it was kind of funny that Pete was always Eddie Howe. And I remember you thinking, I don't know about Emery because he's never done it in the Premier League. He's done it in Spain. That's where he's had his best parts of his career. And definitely willing to give Eddie Howe a run. And it does make sense. He's a good coach, and I've seen some of the clips in the past as well. It would be interesting to see what he does. And can he get the best out of the players we have? And he's got a good relationship with a lot of them already, so or most of them already, and so that's good. So it does make sense, and let's all get behind him. Suppose slight concern, but that's really for next season. And is he going to be a big enough name to attract top class players to join us? But there's going to be a director of football coming in as well, and I think is he going to be it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what kind of title they give him as well. Will it be manager or kind of head coach kind of a role? Because I think it's the dynamics are going to change for us. We're going to adopt the kind of more European model going forward with the director of football or sporting director and head coach kind of role. So it will be interesting, and hope he does have to hit the ground running and pick up points on the run on to January, because we don't want to be left adrift. But backing for Eddie Howe for me as well. Richie,
I think the interesting thing about Eddie Howe is, and I think this is one of the things that bugged a lot of fans, was the fact that there was rumours going around that he was getting talked about with the previous regime, and because obviously now we've got all the money's in the bank and we're the richest club in the world, people are wanting to think, that automatically entitles us to have, a world-class manager and stuff like that. But that's not what we need right now. What Eddie Howe brings to the table is he knows the league, he knows the majority of the players. We're pretty much going to go over everything that the three of you have mentioned. I told you last night, and some of the viewers might have heard, I sent a text into Total Sport last night, and I'll read you the text, because it was some of the stuff that was coming out about Eddie Howe was just really negative and stuff like that. And I think it's, if you watch the show that me and Pete did just before this, which the Howe handover, it puts into light what a good choice Eddie Howe is, and to hear it from a Bournemouth fan as well, who knows them a lot better than what we do because he's watched them for years, should clear a lot of things up. But I said last night, he wasn't my first choice. My first choice was always Rafa, literally because of the experience that he'd had with this group of players. Now we know he could get something out of the defenders, because we were tight, hard to beat down and stuff like that. But he never had the attacking players to do damage at the end. Now with this squad, he's now got the attacking players to do damage and stuff like that. So that was why Rafa was always my first choice. When he went to Everton, we did see on this, he'd made his decision. We move on for Rafa, we don't get Rafa back. So Eddie Howe was probably the most realistic choice and probably the best one for us. And as I said, the text I sent out last night, he wasn't my first choice, but he's the consortium's choice. Some of the comments regards his record are lazy. He took over Bournemouth when they had a 17-point deduction, a transfer embargo, and he kept them up. The following season, he gained promotion. Regards his move to Burnley, he didn't leave Burnley due to homesickness, well, like a lot of the rumours were and stuff like that. He left for personal reasons, which was the death of his mum. Okay, so that's going to be hard on anyone, not just a manager living in a different part of the country and stuff like that. So that was lazy on that half as well. His Premier League relegation, that's been focused on by a lot of pundits and people as well, and a lot of fans. As we discussed on the show, he had Wilson missing with injury. He had Josh King missing with Fraser down tools for the majority of the season. And as we discussed, if you take any 3 players out of any team, they're going to struggle. When we don't have Wilson and Sam Maxim now, we struggle. So you take their better players out of the team, they struggled. And as we also discussed on the previous show, if it wasn't for a dodgy VAR decision, a goal that wasn't given for Sheffield United against Aston Villa, Bournemouth would have stayed up and Aston Villa would have went down. So we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So to keep them up with 3 of his better players would have been, a good little achievement for him on that basis as well. People also turn around and says, "Oh well, he's been conceding 60-odd goals on average over his seasons." So what? Kevin Keegan's teams, they also conceded goals as well, but we always scored more goals than what we conceded. And he also knows how to get the best out of players as well. He knows the league. And he plays good football, which is what we've wanted to see for a long time now, because we haven't seen it for, you could even go back to Rafa days. We didn't really see good football under Rafa, so it's been a long time since we've watched good football. And as Dad's touched on, my only concern is people are turning around and he's only going to be a stopgap manager for the next 2-3 years, whatever. And he brings in the players that we need now, and he's been linked to people today like Kieran Trippier, which we discussed the other week as well, which would be a fantastic addition. Tarkovsky as well. People that we know will do a job in this league and make us stronger and get us to where we need to be. Then, this is where the appointment of a director of football and sport and director will take us to the different level. Because my fear with Eddie Howe was, how are overseas players going to look at Eddie Howe? Is he someone that's going to attract them? But I believe if we get the right appointment above him, we won't have to worry about that. So, rounding things off, I just think he's a great appointment. If anyone who was on the chat, seriously, go and do your research on, like me and the lads have done, we've passed videos around about Eddie Howe. Go and watch him. He knows his stuff. He really, really does. He's a proactive manager. He doesn't set a team up like Bruce does, where it's one plan in. If it doesn't work, that's it. Well, we'll just go to the next game next week and see how that plan A goes next week. He will react and pick a team depending on who he's playing, and he looks at their weaknesses and where we can pick up stuff like that. And he, picks his team on who we're playing against as well. You won't see a set formation and stuff like that. You will see something fantastic under this guy. There's a German coach with a very similar, story to Eddie Howe, and that's Nagelsmann. He was a footballer. He had to retire early, went into coaching. But if Howe had been over in Germany and stuff like that, we'd probably be all raving about him, and we'd all want him over here and give him a chance. But because he's only done it at Bournemouth, people are like, nah, he's not for us and stuff like that. Seriously, give this guy a chance, and he will show you what he can do. Simple.
So you're saying you like him, Richie?
He's all right.
Yeah.
I think the good thing is he likes to keep the ball on the ground. He likes to play football. He's not a back five lumping in the air to a big number 9. So I think for me, I'm interested to see that. And the other dynamic for me, because he's had Richie, Wilson, and Fraser at Bournemouth beforehand, I'm interested to see in particular what happens and how he brings out Fraser. Because obviously, if you watch some of those coaching videos, in particular the one that he done in Spain when Bournemouth won on a pre-season, and you can hear him with Fraser, great pass, wee man, come on, wee man, and all the other bits that go with it. So I'm interested to see, does Fraser become the player that we think he may be, or, you know, is there any changes? But he does, I agree with you. I think he does play some good football, and the fact he likes to keep the ball on the ground, and he you know, is a good tactician and changes his teams around depending on the opponent. I think, you know, hopefully we're in for some decent ball. Certainly we've got to start winning a few games anyway.
Just following on from that, Pete, was what we said about the tactician bit. If people go and watch that the masterclass one where he talks about the Chelsea game, he admits he tried numerous different things and never worked, and he tried something different this time, and they went down to Stamford Bridge and won 3-0. He's never afraid to try new things. You know, he's innovative, and he you know, to go down and beat Conte in Stamford Bridge, that isn't no mean feat. You know what I mean? That is, he's a good manager, and people just got to give him a chance. Sorry, Pete, I know you're going to say something. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, watch. Martin touched on the where he's mic'd up on his training session pre-season. Now I sent that out a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. I put that on Twitter. Go and watch the 10-minute version of it. There's a 10-minute version. I only put out a 1.5-minute version. The 10-minute version doesn't show you that he's just a tactician, that he's just a technically very, very good coach. What he also shows is that he's a fantastic man manager in the way he his players. So it's not just about what he does on the training pitch. It's about the build-up. It's about how he talks to his players, how he encourages his players, how he gets the best out of them.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, you know, Steve Bruce as being this type of man manager. Okay, Eddie Howe blows him out the water, 100%. Now, if you look at their two careers, right, 1,000 games for Steve Bruce. Eddie Howe's been managing 10 years, is only 43 years old. But you could argue that Eddie Howe has already achieved more in his managerial career in 10 years than what Steve Bruce has already achieved in 1,000 football matches. So you could argue that, and he's still got so much more to give. But, you know, he is, you know, Rich touched on the point, and he used Nagelsmann as an example. I use Ralph Hasenhüttl as an example. You know, everyone raves about Ralph Hasenhüttl, and he's a good manager, but he hasn't pulled up any trees really since he came to Southampton. He's been on the end of some absolute stinking results as manager of Southampton. He doesn't play anywhere near the type of football that Eddie Howe plays, and we've got to get past. He's a young English manager, he got Bournemouth relegated. Watch our show tonight. Go back after this show and watch the show that me and Rich did. When the Bournemouth fan, Tom Jordan, will tell you why they got relegated that season. And I tell you what, it's not because of Eddie Howe. It's because of something else. And you'll find out when you watch that show. And I think it dispels so many myths about Eddie Howe that people have talked negatively about. We will get to those star-studded managers eventually, but right now we need a guy that's going to attract the best players in this league. Okay, Man City did it, Chelsea did it. Chelsea went out and got Glenn Johnson, Joe Cole, Scott Parker. They got the best young players in England. What did Man City do? They got the best English-based players that are based in the Premier League. They got Gareth Barry, James Milner, Craig Bellamy. They got those type of players. Shay Given.
Exactly.
They got those based English, British based.
They made one marquee signing, which for City was Robinho.
Yeah, and
everybody else that was built around them were all English based.
There's no doubt that we can do that. There's no doubt that we will go out and get that foreign player. But
breaking news. Sorry, I just needed to get your attention, lads. Sorry, we can't have an NUFC 360 show without having someone from NUF 360
on it.
So here is Evan. Sorry about that, lads. Evan, welcome.
Evening, mate.
All right, lads. How you getting on?
Good, mate. How are you?
No.
You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah,
we can, mate.
Good stuff.
But look, I've been talking to you for a while, Evan. A good few weeks, and you know what? We had it sort of nailed down that you were going to come on the show, and then what happens? The takeover happens, and everything falls apart. All hell breaks loose. So look, this has been weeks in the making. So you know, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on. obviously a representative of NUFC 360, which is a fantastically followed Twitter handle. I've been following it ever since I've been on Twitter for many years now. It's a very, very popular Twitter handle. But am I right in thinking you've been there right from the beginning?
Pretty much to start, yeah. So I got involved in that when I was in college about 5 years ago. I did a module on social media management, and I had to either make my own account or jump onto an existing account and try and grow it that way. So I thought, as a Newcastle fan, I'd seen this page, and I think I had about 3,000 or 4,000 at the time, 3,000 or 4,000 followers, and I jumped on board then with, it was me, Danny, who's the owner of the account, he's from Norway, and then Kevin is his name, who's also Irish. I think he's from Mayo. You kidding me if I got that wrong though. But yeah, I jumped on and.
Daz, I'm sorry, I'm just having little premonitions here. Evan, where the fuck are you from?
Where from?
Yeah,
Dublin.
Well, okay, cool. I'm about 20 minutes up the road from you. Where in Dublin are you from? I'm up in Drogheda, but I'm working in Balbriggan. Where are you?
No way. I'm in Lucan in Dublin.
Lucan. Oh man,
yeah.
I tell you, see, all the best accounts out there are fucking Irish and led by you lads.
We found another one. There's 3 Newcastle fans in Ireland.
I know there's 3 Newcastle fans who are Irish. Yes, that's awesome.
And Evan, I'm from Galway. Evan.
Galway.
Just down the road a bit. Galway.
I've never been to Galway actually. I'd love to go though. I've heard the air square is good.
It's only good for a weekend, mate. Far better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, lad. Right, go on. Sorry.
But no, I did it for that. I only intended on doing it for that college module. I did it for that college module, and then by the time I finished it, I think the account was already up to 10,000 followers. So I just said, I'll stick with this because it is time consuming, but it was good seeing the following growing and stuff like that. And then time is flown by, and it's nearly we're closing on 80,000 now, 80,000 followers nearly. So
yeah,
you might give us a tweet out now and again. Grow our numbers.
No problem, pal. Yeah, no problem.
Come on.
No problem.
Nice. Look.
Thanks for coming on, Evan. Yeah, no, that's it. We've agreed to deal with Evan. Only messing, Evan.
Well, mate, you can't chuck him off yet. But
Guys, don't be messing, man. He's in Dublin, just down the road from me. Don't be messing with him.
You get to you first. It's okay.
But look, Evan, I'm really interested, obviously, to know that you've talked about, how you sort of initially started. Why do you think it's grown so much over the years? So, like you said, you said it started at sort of like 3,000-4,000. Then, when you were gonna kind of step away from it, when you finished your sort of module, it was at 10. Now it's approaching 80. If I'm right, is that what you just mentioned? 80.
Yeah,
80,000. Like, how has it kind of like just snowballed into this kind of huge sort of Twitter handle that has a huge influence on what happens Newcastle United related on Twitter?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think the main thing for me is there's been a couple of accounts in the past where it's kind of all about them, but for us, we always encourage interaction amongst the followers, and just sometimes we'll just put out a tweet, no opinion, no nothing, just asking a question, and that way it'll drive people to talk about the club or whatever's going on. So that's one main thing, is just not making it about ourselves, making it about the club and about all of our followers to get involved. Another thing I'd say is it's in the bio. We do exactly what it says on the tin, really. Like, we just, anything we see, whether it's good or bad, we'll put it out there about the club. You can't be biased when you do something like this. I know with the takeover going through and all is great. We've had people coming on because there is articles out there which are against the takeover or whatever, and people have come on and said you shouldn't be posting that or whatever. But you can't turn into a propaganda page for the new ownership. We have to stay sort of objective and just put out. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, if you're going to put something out there on a page and you're going to do like a poll or anything, certainly Richie learned this week that, like, if you are going to put something out on behalf of someone, you need to definitely tag in certain Twitter handles, because otherwise you get like a little bit of grief if you're putting out like some kind of poll or anything else. Isn't that right, Richie?
Possibly. Is that NUFC polls page, is it?
Yeah, two polls.
Don't mind that fella. Don't mind that fella. Whatever poll you want to put out. Don't mind
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So what happened, Richie?
I just had to put a poll out. We've never really done polls before, to be fair. You know, we used to do polls when we did like Loaded Football Weekly at the start, when it was between two teams and stuff like that, and when we did our all-time 11. So I just went back and I put it out to say, out of these 4 selections, who do you fancy Newcastle? And then someone just commented going, you know, I think it's a bit rude not to ask two polls when you've about when you put a poll out. And then I was like, and then Martin goes, you've got to tag them in it. You've got to tag them in it and stuff like that. He said, you better go groveling. You better go groveling and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what happened.
Now I don't have to laugh off him now. I just do it on purpose now. I'll put a poll up a day now just to annoy him, and then when he replies saying, "What's this about?" I just say, "Don't care, pal." You know, whatever poll I want to do.
Look, this might sound like a strange question, but I'm sure you've sort of experienced it before. Obviously, you guys put out a lot of tweets, a lot of stuff that's going on related to the club, like you said, whether it's takeover related, whether it's transfer related. And I have noticed over the years, more recently as well, you guys sort of get a lot of stick for, you know, clickbait and various things like that. What is your feelings towards some of that negativity that you get from people, from you know, people on Twitter or social media about the fact that they refer to you as clickbait and all the rest of it? Are you guys bothered about it? Have you got an opinion on it at all?
The short answer for that is no, not bothered at all. But the long answer is,
you know what it is?
Like,
I was watching Evan's face light up there, and I was thinking, I know exactly what's fucking coming here.
Well, like at the start when we were small and it was kind of only getting taken off a bit, I never get my head around the people being negative and all. We're just normal blokes, just we enjoy doing this, so we're just normal blokes and we're doing it for a laugh or whatever. And then I used to always reply to people and say like, what are you on about? Shut your mouth to this and that. And then Danny had to calm me down and say, listen, you can't be replying to these people. You just have to leave them to their own devices. And then I'm older and wiser now, so it's bound to happen when you have a fan base this big. People aren't going to like what you have to say sometimes. You just have to. Do you
consider it clickbait though? Do you consider it clickbait, or do you just think you're just putting information out there to the fan base?
Well, clickbait to me is if we had a website or a YouTube or something and we were like putting up stuff saying this happened and it doesn't even happen in the video or it doesn't happen in the article, that's clickbait to me. We haven't even got really a website. We have it, but it doesn't really be used that much. YouTube, we haven't ventured into that yet. We have a podcast, but there's no clickbait involved in that. I think people sometimes just love to say the word clickbait and they don't actually know what it means.
Yeah, clickbait is when you're generating traffic towards your own websites. These guys are pointing towards other sites, so it can't be classified as clickbait because they don't get anything for the tweets that they put out. So,
why? Can I ask you a question, Evan? Why haven't you got into YouTube? Given the following that you've got, the size of the traffic that you've got, how come you guys haven't done a pod like we do?
To be honest, we've talked about it in the past a few times, but like it's difficult enough. We'd have to probably expand the team a bit because they started off with 3 of us. Now there's I think 7 of us, and it is very time consuming just doing the Twitter page alone. We also have a podcast now as well, so it is something we would like to do. Go into YouTube and do something like this, like yourselves are doing. But as of yet, it hasn't happened. But I'll get back on to Danny about it and say the lads from Loud and Max said we should get into YouTube. So.
Evan,
you could just link into Loaded like that would work as well. Like
I have an idea, Martin.
What's some genuine clickbait, Martin?
We could do this.
How about this? We go into YouTube and we just take all your followers. How about that?
Yeah. Let's get rid of the English contingent. Let's just keep this in the whole kind of like
the Irish are taking over. So welcome, Evan.
Yes.
Got rid of them. I always get them back in.
What the fuck is going on?
You do realise Martin's English as well, Daz?
I do, yeah.
I am, yeah, but I'm 22 years in Dublin now, so I think, to be fair, I think even Evan would say, like, I'm not just a blowing anymore. So there you go.
I thought you were Irish when I first came on. I thought you were
There you go,
Irish.
lad. I am, exactly, yeah. But they won't give me a passport, and I'm not fucking paying for one, so they can shite off.
Love it.
So, Evan, let's talk about a Newcastle general topic. So,
What's your
do you
feeling
make?
on Eddie Howe?
Yeah, let's go there first.
I'm happy with Eddie Howe, to be fair, because he did an absolutely fantastic job at Bournemouth. There's no denying that. I think I seen a tweet the other day which said something along the lines of, if his name was, it was like an Edward Howitz or something, and he took a German club up 4 divisions, he'd be seen as the Messiah. And I actually think that that's pretty spot on, to be fair. If a foreign manager did that, we'd be looking at that thinking, Jesus, this guy is an absolute genius. So there is that. The only thing is, I was really looking forward to getting Unai Emery. I think I had my heart was set on him when he was linked. And then when that fell through, I was kind of like, oh, so. But that'll wear off after a few days. As soon as it's announced, I'd say officially, I'll be buzzing about it, because there's no denying he's a good manager, and he's definitely a harder worker than Steve Bruce. I read that on his time off, he's visited Real Madrid to speak with Diego Simeone. He visited Rayo Vallecano and Liverpool as well. So as long as it's someone who's actually going to do their job and work hard, that's enough for me for now.
Cool.
I like that.
Keep us up.
We've got plenty more to
go.
So I have another question for you personally. So obviously you're in Lucan, you're a Dub, not too far from me, and obviously running a big account. How the hell did you get into being a Newcastle United fan? Because obviously I live not too far from Dublin, and it's like, if you're not United or Liverpool, you're ostracized. So how the fuck did you get into being a black and white like me and Daz? How did that happen? Tell us about that.
So basically what happened was, I think I was probably, I want to say 4 or 5, something like that. And at the time, my dad used to drink Newcastle Brown Ale all the time. So sponsorships work, because I just seen it on the jersey. I said, that's my name, I want to support them, because that's the drink that you to be drinking, Daddy. So I support Newcastle that way. And then, yeah, that's right. Like,
he was obviously doing bootlegger runs out of Newry, was he?
Yeah, he probably was. He always says about that in Newry. Keep drinking all, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But like, nobody here really, in my age especially, in Dublin, would be supporting Newcastle. And one of my mates does, but he only does it because I did. He just copied me. But I went to after the takeover was announced, I went to the pub just down the road in Lucan, and I had my Newcastle top on. And everyone was coming up to me being like, oh, you're a plastic fan, you're a plastic. You're only wearing that because the takeover. I just wanted to be like, I support you until it's 3 pounds. Yeah.
Exactly. And where's your local? Where are you drinking?
Oh, it's the Penny Hill, it's called, in Lucan.
Oh, yeah. No, I know that. Yeah, I've stayed in Lucan a few times on work nights. Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. It's like we're having this. It's like we're having a night out in Dublin tonight.
Oh, stop! I'm going there after this.
Yeah, no, we are having a night out, pal. Absolutely, I'll get in touch with you after this. We're having a night out. Absolutely. Daz might get the pony and cart down from Galway from his farm and come out for a few pints.
So I'm a farmer now, am I? Yeah, you're putting me in that category. I live out in the sticks. I do. Live in the countryside.
Sticks. You live in a big field in Galway, so.
Go for it, Pete.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Obviously, Eddie Howe taking over the club. Well, hopefully, it seems like it's going to get signed off this weekend. We obviously need points. We're third or second bottom of the league, 4 points on the board. First and foremost, do you think that Eddie Howe keeps us up? But secondly, if we can get to January still in the fight, who do you realistically think from all the links that have been out there, and you guys will know on the NUFC 360, Twitter handle, the amount of links that have been out there with so many players. Who do you think is a viable option for us, either in defence, midfield, or attack moving forward? So, firstly, do you think we'll start with Eddie Howe? And secondly, who do you think we're going to recruit in January?
I think he has a big job on his hands, because we're already 10 games into the season, and the main thing for me, I think he said it himself in his interview, was that the fitness levels weren't up to scratch, and that's the main thing for me, because these players, like, they know how to defend, they know from Rafa Benitez, they know how to get into shape, but you can't physically get into shape, like, in a formation, if you cannot run. And a lot of these guys so far this season simply aren't fit enough. So for me, the first thing he needs to do is sort out the fitness and get them as fit as possible, as quick as possible. And once he does that, I think we have the talent and we have the know-how to pick up points. It's just a question of whether you can pick up enough, because we are pretty much adrift at this stage of the season already. But yeah, I'm going to say he will keep us up. And then the second question about the signings, I think we need defenders and we need midfielders desperately. I think Kieran Trippier, I seen he was linked, he will be an excellent signing for us. Even though he's 31, he can still offer something for the next 2 or 3 years, 100%. In terms of the midfield, we need a centre midfielder, like, big time. Probably be looking at maybe, I know he's starting to get into the Chelsea team, but Ruben Loftus-Cheek would be a good signing for me. And even if you get him on loan, there's no embarrassment in using the loan market for this season anyway.
A few available, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'd say Trippier,
as well,
and a centre half. We need a centre half or two.
Yeah, I would agree with that more than one. But what about a striker? Do you think if we were to get someone to sort of partner or work alongside Callum Wilson up there, who do you think would be a good option for us in January, whether it was loan or permanent?
It's difficult. I don't know, like, because we don't know what we're working with really. It's been kind of hush hush. I know there's some articles say that they're going to spend this amount and that amount, and some articles say they're not going to spend a lot at all. But I think it depends. If we're really in the shitter come January, they're going to have no choice but to spend big, and they have money to spend. So I would say, in terms of a striker, I don't know. I might get slated for this, but I think, like, even Chris Wood would be a good signing on a 2 or 3 year deal. Off Burnley, he's placed one of our rivals. Get him in, get him off them onto us. He could be a good partner for Wilson as well. But no, even I think Wilson's the main man, but he does get injured quite a lot. So we do need another striker, even if it's just a backup one, like maybe Eddie Nketiah or something on loan off Arsenal.
Yeah. You're lucky. Martin didn't hear that. He's a big Chris Wood fan. He'd be going drinking with you tonight if he had heard that one. So you're off the hook. That was my question, actually, Pete. I was going to ask that. Evan. Maybe we'll go. We've had one about the future. We've had one about the current. Maybe we'll go one from the past. Where were you when you heard the news about the takeover and getting rid of Ashley after 14 years? What was? I suppose if you're touching on it, you went out with your Newcastle jersey that night at the pub. But what was that like after following the saga for 18 months or 4 years of it?
It was honestly crazy, because, like, it's been 4 years or something. Just rumors, nothing happened. Like, I remember going all the way back. I was at a festival when the news broke about. I don't know if you remember this, but remember BZG? Remember that takeover?
Yeah.
And when that broke, he was like, my dad, Kidway, and he was like the cousin of the Man City owner and all. And I was at a festival, and I was like, this is the best day of my life. Then it's like the next day, it's like, no, it's collapsed, gone. Then the whole Amanda Stavely thing for years, I was like, I was like, I don't give a shit anymore. I honestly don't care. And then when it happened, the time I knew that this was going to happen was when we hadn't been announced or anything like that, and we retweeted a post from someone who was at a hotel or something in Newcastle. I think it's the Jesmond Dean Hotel. And they were like, oh, so-and-so, I think Amanda, all the Sky Sports crew are here, the BBC crew and all, they're all outside this hotel. So obviously something's going on. And we retweeted that. And one of the reporters, I won't say who it was, but he texted us on Sky Sports News, and he was like, please take that down. Like, please take it down because it could jeopardize everything that's happening here. We have a big interview planned. It's going to go ahead, Takeover on. And when I seen that, I was just in my gaff, like I was in my house. I seen that, I was like, all right, it's happening now, like. And then was it a Thursday when it happened? Do you remember? Or
Thursday,
Friday?
yeah, Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. So like, I was off work. I was off work on the Friday, and I texted my mate. I was like, "We are out tonight. We're going out tonight. That's it."
Yeah, it was a Thursday. Yep. Because I remember I
Have
took
you
a half day.
Have you forgot already, Dad?
Yeah, no, I just had to double check it was a Thursday.
Are you still hungover from that show, like?
I don't think I could ever forget that day. I don't think I would ever forget that day in terms of what I did and how that kind of like played out. Because I remember hearing like my phone constantly go off in my pocket whilst I was at work.
I know, muted.
Knowing that I couldn't.
I was just going to say, Pete doesn't remember because he was fucking hammered. That's why.
Honestly,
like the rest of us.
I was on the way home, and I think I can't remember. It was either. I think Rich. Was it you that rang me? You gave me the lowdown.
Yeah, we had a conversation in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, I was driving home, and honestly, from as soon as I touched back at home, even before the kids had got picked up from school by the wife, I was just on the drink all evening. Like it was just so real, even more so real that I've just gone through my recordings on my Sky channel, and I recorded Sky Sports News when it came up on the ticker in the interview from Staveley, and I actually watched it back today, and just watching it back. It just doesn't seem real even now, even though it is, and we're 4 months into it. It just doesn't seem real. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've done it for so long.
Hammered.
I was this close. This close to booking flights over to Newcastle for that weekend.
Oh yeah.
It looked like it was on wheels.
Oh man.
I drank way too much that night we did that show. Like I think I was drunk before we even got Davy Craig on to play Local Hero. I was drunk before I got on the show. I drank everything during the show, and then when I woke up on the Friday morning, I actually thought I'd been mugged because my head was banging. I wasn't sure where I was, and then as you lads know, I had another 4 days on the drink straight after that.
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, like I'm 51. I haven't drank in 5 days in a row since I was like fucking 25. So I was like, I was not in good shape at the end of the week when that all happened. So
yeah,
thank God it's only once.
We've got the video evidence of your other nights out over that weekend as well.
I did. I staggered home. Jesus Christ! Never ever let that get the daylight of anything go. It's like I remember I was in the pub.
Don't say that. That's a Christmas special.
I know it's a Christmas special. Like I was in my local up here, and I was knocking back tequilas and Jaeger bombs and everything else. Like, dude, I thought I was fucking 19. I was knocking back drinks like I thought it was going out of fashion, and then I got on the video thing, and I distinctly remember I think I was trying to sing on the video. And then then I realized I was like so spaced, and then not a good night to be fair. But,
yeah, Evan, we ran a show that night, as you can obviously hear from the guys, and we invited everybody on as well, everyone in the chat. So anyone that wanted to jump on. Loads of the guys in the chat came on and shared the night with us. I think was it 3.5 hour show we did or something?
3.5 hours.
Show, yeah, it was.
Wow.
There, if anyone's ever bored.
But it's on the channel, is it?
Yeah, it's on the channel.
Yeah.
The show the night before actually is brilliant as well, because we had Ben Jacobs on the night before, and we had the inklings of it that it was happening. Everyone had the rumors there.
Yeah.
So
actually,
and that might be a nice link.
You're just going to say, speaking of Ben Jacobs.
I was.
I knew you were. Yeah. So there you go. Monday night. We haven't spoken to him since we were kind of pre-takeover. But Ben is back on with myself on Monday night, 8 o'clock. If you are kicking around and you do like to watch us and subscribe and all that other stuff that we talk about, Ben's back on Monday night. There he is with KK and Shearer. Although not quite sure, Ben, what is going on with the red pants with Shearer there. Slightly worrying, but anyway, we'll ask about that on Monday night.
Actually, a story about that, because I took that from his Insta, but he says a good little line underneath the picture. He goes, myself and Cher on our engagement. This perfect.
You look at Shearer's face on there. I think he looked a bit.
He's like, Shearer's like, oh my god, this dude's wearing red pants. Yeah, Ben is on with myself on Monday night, 8:00. So join us for that. We're gonna have a chat about everything that's going on at Newcastle, and haven't spoken to him since the takeover. And obviously, he's a big Leicester fan, and Leicester was shite last night, so that should be good fun. So I'll give him a bit of crack about that as well. So join us Monday night.
Evan, let's go back to you, and let's go for a question about the game on Saturday. How do you think we'll do against Graham Potter's Brighton?
I think it's going to be a similar performance to the Palace game. We'll try and restrict them as much as we can, and try and hit them on the counter. They're probably going to do better than us XG wise. They're going to create more chances. They're going to have more shots on goal, more possession as well, probably. Hopefully Dubravka comes back in. I'm hoping he comes back into the team and is back to his best, because when he's at his best, I think he's definitely the top 10 keepers in the league, easily top 8. So hopefully he comes back in, has a great game, and we take our chances. And if that happens, we'll get a result. But I'm not too optimistic, to be honest with you. I think they're way fitter than us as well. As I said to you with the fitness, they're not fit enough at the moment.
It's interesting you said about the counter, because we have an away day show on Thursday that me and Chris were on, and we had a couple of Brighton fans on, and we asked them the question, where can we potentially hurt Brighton on Saturday? And the one thing they said, and I think it was either Chloe or Josh, they mentioned that it was from the counter. They tend to concede goals when they get hit by a counter attack, and if you watch the Man City game, they got pummeled by counter attacks, and they couldn't manage that. Now, obviously, we're not Man City, but we have players like Callum Wilson, like Alan St-Maximin, Almiron, that can be devastating on counter attacks. When they're given the opportunity. So hopefully, it's something we can exploit. I said it to Chris after our show on yesterday. If we get the first goal, it makes the game interesting, because we've got something to hold on to, and it opens up the game. But if we concede the first goal, particularly against Brighton, I think it's lights out, game over. If I'm honest with you, I think the first goal for us is going to be critical in that game. The counter attack will be interesting. See how we actually perform. But if Eddie Howe is confirmed before the game, what I think is going to be quite interesting is whether he has an influence on how our team sets up. Will we set up differently? Will he set us up, or will he tell Graham Jones to set us up in a formation that's going to be similar to what he wants us to play? All of these factors are still in place, and we could still have a new manager in place by tomorrow. So it's all going to be interesting to see how it kind of pans out.
Like from a Bournemouth perspective, when he was there, Pete, like what is Eddie Howe's preferred formation?
Funny enough, we asked Tom Jordan this question because I wanted to know, because whenever I looked at Bournemouth, it looked like they set up in a 4-3-3. But actually, Tom Jordan said sort of in their earlier days, maybe before they came to the Premier League, it was kind of like a 4-4-2 setup. But actually, for long parts, and particularly towards the end of his time at Bournemouth, it always looked like it was a 4-3-3 setup. Now, like it was always Ryan Fraser on the left, Callum Wilson in the middle, and then Josh King floating off the right-hand side into the middle just behind him. And it was interesting how they set up their midfield, because I talked about it on the show previously. Dan Gosling, who was an ex-Newcastle player, he actually performed really well for them. And what he got Dan Gosling doing is breaking away from that midfield three and getting into arriving late on the edge of the box. So it was kind of like, if anything, a 4-2-1-3. Because that he was their attacking midfielder. He would do the doggy work, so he'd be box to box, but and sit in tight when they needed to. But he'd also break away from the other two to try and get in, and the other two kind of would sit back. It was Lerma and Billing that would kind of sit back and try and control things on the ball. So if I was to say anything from what I'd observed of his time, I would probably say a 4-3-3, which actually, if you look at our players, I mean, if we were to match it up right now, okay, forget the defence for a second, but where he likes to win games in attack, you've got Callum Wilson up front, you've got St. Maximin on the right, and you've got Ryan Fraser on the left, potentially, that could work. You could even put Almiron in there, potentially. In that midfield, you've got the likes of Hayden, Longstaff, and then in the middle, that Gosling type player in Joe Willock, breaking forward and getting into the box, because we know how devastating he can be when playing in the right formation. So we've got some things to play around with there. I would kind of go with that, if I'm honest.
Evan, question for you then as well. Okay, I suppose like myself and Martin anyway, it's difficult to get over to matches. Do you get over to matches much, or are you planning to get over to matches in the next while? And another question to add to that is when it comes to all the talk about potential stadium expansion, or maybe even looking towards a new stadium, what's your thoughts on that? I guess it'd be more spaces for us to get tickets, but what's your general thoughts?
In terms of matches, I've been to a few. The first one I went to was against West Brom. It was I think it was in the championship. I think it was championship. Yeah, we drew 2-2, and remember Peter Lovencrantz scored. I think his dad died like the previous day, or something like that.
I remember him going up and giving it the.
Yeah, I was at that match. I was also at the Spurs game. We drew that 2-2. I think someone scored. Shola Miobi scored 2 goals in that game. It was in St James's Park. Shola scored twice. We drew 2-2. And I was at the Southampton game there recently under Rafa when we won 3-1 or 3-0. Kennedy scored twice. Remember we were 2-0 up after 10 minutes. Remember that game? Yeah, I was at that one as well. I'm gonna go over in the new year to another match. I love going over there. There's a little story. I went over with my mates there to that match where Kennedy scored twice in the first few minutes, and we were walking through the town centre, and there was this guy, and he was just giving out like cans of Jameson ginger ale, and he heard us talking, obviously, and heard our accents that we were from Dublin. He said, "You got from Dublin?" And we said, "Yeah," and he goes, "I fucking love Dublin," and he gave us about 40 cans of Jameson ginger ale for free. We brought them back to the hotel room. That was the sort for a weekend. And in terms of the stadium expansion, or even I wouldn't be in favour of relocation of the stadium. I would be in favour of expansion, but in terms of also, I know it's tougher for people who live in Newcastle, but I seen an article there recently where they were thinking of adding a sponsor to the name of the stadium. I would be in favour of that personally, as long as St James's Park is kept in the name. Like if it's called like the Etihad St James's Park or something like that, I wouldn't be against that if it brings a lot of money into the club. But I don't know about yourselves though.
Yeah, I actually I live just south of Newcastle, Chesterfield. We've got the Durham County Cricket Ground there, and that's actually been renamed Emirates Riverside. So I can't understand why you couldn't have like something like Aramco St James's Park or Saudi St James's Park. I think as long as you keep the St James's Park, I think it'll work and people won't mind it. I think the one good thing is the consortium need, as long as they already put feelers out there, didn't they, with the different things. If they ask fans, don't just do it. They ask the fans and get like an opinion. People don't mind, especially when the sort of money that these sponsors are going to bring in to enhance the club. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just free advertising of your own company sort of thing like it was in the past. It's going to be beneficial to the club in the long run. So I'm all for it, to be honest with you. Same as you, Evan.
Yeah, exactly.
And a follow-on question to that, I just thought of it there as well, because I know when I first met Martin as well, I've never actually met him face-to-face like the rest of the guys, but
there's a reason for that.
There is, you're always drunk.
No, he doesn't like it.
I am really always drunk. That is true.
No, the question is, did you get to when Newcastle come over on the preseason trips? Did you get to go to the preseason games? I know I was there, Martin was there as well, but we didn't obviously know each other then. But did you get to go to those as well?
Yeah, I went to we played Shamrock Rovers. It was a long time ago. I think I was at that. and then we played Pats as well. I was at that match too, and I also went to Carton House when Rafa was in charge. I got a photo with Rafa, so I have a photo with Rafa.
They were there for the 5-6 nights. I went to see them. They played Bohemians as well.
Yeah.
So
they played. Yeah, you know what? They played. I was fuming because they played Bows, right? And it was only a few weeks later my brother signed for Bows. So if you had it signed earlier, you would have played against Newcastle.
Oh man, we could have got tickets. Yeah, I've a mate. He's a mad Bows fan. He goes all there. Like going to Bows is great, but like it's an absolute bastard to park.
If your mate's a Bows fan, tell him you were on YouTube with Danny Grant's brother.
Danny Grant. All right, I will. Yeah, I'll text him tomorrow. I'll be talking to him tomorrow anyway. I normally give him a shout.
You'll know who he is. So. You'll know who he is.
Yeah, no worries.
He's at Huddersfield now.
Pete and Richie, like, I have no idea what these two lads are talking about. It's like a different language. I'm
just here for the
jokes. Mark, seriously, we know you don't get out much, so we'll just let you enjoy the craft, mate.
To be fair to Evan, I've been down to Bows a few times over the season, and I've been out to Taller as well to see Shamrock Rovers play. To be fair, up where I am, Drogheda, like they won the league about 3-4 years ago, and like they've done fuck all since. So, like if you want to go and watch a good match, like most of my mates are Bows supporters, so we get out to Phibsborough and we go into watch Bohemians. So, I'll tell them all.
The Bows Rovers matches are honestly, I know I'm a Newcastle fan and all, but they're the best atmospheres.
Do you know what it is? I would totally agree with you. Like I know people have said to me, like best kind of derby atmosphere, and obviously I've been to Newcastle Sunderland, I've been to Roca, I've been to Stadium of Light, been to St James's, but like Bows against Rovers is a proper derby, and to be fair, there's plenty of good Dublin derbies, but Bows and Rovers is a great atmosphere with loads of fireworks and everything else. So if you are, and I'm sure Evan will tell you as well, if you ever have a weekend in Dublin, you get a chance to go to League of Ireland and go to a Dublin derby. Man, it's one of the best nights out you'll ever have. And then you can head into Dublin, drink your head off, go crazy, and then wake up on Sunday and think, what the fuck did I do the night before? Because that's all about life.
So Pete and Richie, just to let you know, we don't like Shamrock Rovers. Your second team is Bows now. Yeah. Yeah, Newcastle and Bows fans.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah.
Hey, there was a link between Newcastle and Bows back a long time ago. I remember as well. There was some kind of link up, and we did bring a player in from there. It's just coming back to me now when you think about it.
Yeah.
He didn't make it.
Newcastle played Bows a good few seasons. Like I think barring a couple of seasons ago, like pretty much any of the seasons that they had pre-season in Ireland, there's always been a Newcastle against Bows game. I think barring the season that Rafa was here, and they played Shamrock Rovers out in Tala. Pretty much, I think pretty much every other season there's been any kind of game over here. It's always been a Newcastle Bows game. I think it's been pretty much throughout history that we've had.
I think the player I was about to Google it, but I just remember the player's name. I think it was Jimmy Crawford. Something like that.
Yeah, I've just Googled it. It's Jimmy Crawford.
I just came back. I was about to Google it, and then I just thought of his name.
You're also forgetting another famous one.
That's not Jim Crawford, the Ireland Under-21 manager, is it?
Yeah, I think you went down to that.
Him,
yeah.
Yeah, but you're also forgetting the famous one though, Liam O'Brien, who played for Bohemians and Shamrock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just before my time, Richie, Liam O'Brien.
Yeah, to be fair, we would only think about him being a Bows player, as Evan said. You wouldn't be thinking about Shamrock Rovers.
Lads, I think we'll leave it there for the night, will we? Anything else you want to touch on?
There's anything's come in the chat, mate?
No. I don't know what. Something happened that matters tonight. I'm in some kind of lookalikey. And there's some people saying I won a prize or something. I don't know. I don't know what that mightn't be anything to do with matters.
I have no idea. How can there be a prize for ugly fucker of the year? How can that happen?
Listen, if that's the end of it, Pete, when can I expect that £50 with PayPal, pal?
We get that a lot,
Yeah.
Evan. We get that a lot.
That's
Yeah.
good.
You know what? The guy just below
I tell
me.
you what, don't
Martin,
even
he's
think
back
about
with-
exchanging that into euros and me dropping that down to him. That's not going to happen.
I was just about to
Yeah,
say,
drop it down in cash in an envelope.
if
I
you're
want
meeting
cash.
at the pub, guys, if you're meeting at the
Tell
pub,
lad.
then Mark's probably the guy to go to. I've got to be honest.
Lads, it's
Yeah, but
what
the thing is,
Send me his address, Pete. Send me his address.
if I'm going to meet Evan in Dublin for a few pints, that's costing me more than fucking 50. So, you know what I mean?
I
Hey,
cost
we
you
are the
200
richest club in
quid.
the world.
I was going to say, Martin, what is it with the Irish people asking for 50 quid at the minute?
Do you know what, Richie? There's a long history about people asking for money, but like I can understand where Evan's coming from.
Definitely.
Lads,
Yeah.
I just want to say as well to everyone, everyone in the chat is already subscribed. But anyone watching on playback, please hit that subscribe button and get us to 2K. Our new target is to get to 2K by Christmas. That's a big target to try and hit. We've a bit of a way to go, but you know what to do. You know
How
where to
many
find us.
subscribers do you have now at the moment?
1,380
Yeah, we're
something.
nearly at 1,400.
That's good, right? I'll up until
That's in 6 months,
I'll-
Evan.
that's good. Yeah, that's very good.
Help
Like
us out, Evan.
Huh?
Help us out. Get our name out there and UFC 360.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that because like I know myself back in the day when we were only starting off, we would sometimes require help from other people and other accounts. So I was happy to help out, and you seem like a group of gents. So listen, I'll share your stuff going forward whenever I can, but obviously not every single episode we will be able to do that because I need a bit of that for that.
Yeah.
But that's another 50 quid, as well done, mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, you lads in England better PayPal me some money. If I meet him in Dublin, it's going to cost me a fucking fortune. But
Jeff is going to sort us out. The dodgy notes.
Exactly. The thing we will do, Evan, I'll get some contact details off Pete. I'll drop you a text, mate. What we'll do is I'll meet you one night. We'll head out to a match. We'll have a couple of beers, pal, because I say that'd be a good night.
Yeah, 100%, pal. That'll be good.
Grand job.
Evan,
Cool.
Absolutely spot on, mate. Thank you for coming on tonight. And you know what? Just not just to yourself, but to your team, really, on NUFC 360. The work that you guys do, regardless of what people's opinions are across the fan base, the vast majority appreciate the information that you guys put on there. Like you said, it's not easy. It's time consuming. We know that as a YouTube channel ourselves that it can be really, really time consuming. But you guys
And
are
the shit that goes with it.
yeah, of course, and all the crap that's there. But you keep everybody up to date on a regular basis. Massive respect for that, and keep doing the business because you guys are doing some good stuff, and hopefully it will build and build and build now with us being in our new era, and we can talk about things in a more positive way. I mean, I know for a fact that for you guys, come January, it's gonna absolutely like. It's going to be
and us.
All those.
I was just going to say, I think the other thing, the fact that Aaron's been on here tonight now is going to help them explode because I mean we are fucking kicking.
So this is the pinnacle for us. There's no better than this. Like, come on here.
Your numbers are going to go up now. You're going to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
If
we'll
this
mention
doesn't
your
make
name.
you lads kick off, then nothing will.
And you know what? On a serious note, Evan, obviously, I've listened to one or two of your the pods that you've done for 360. As guys are always happy to kind of collaborate. So if you want to have a chat with your team and we want to do something together as a 360 pod, we'll jump on all day long. No problem.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's good, bro. That's good, pal, because we're always looking for people to come on. We actually only put a tweet out there a couple of weeks ago looking for people to come on. So I'll say it to the lads and hopefully get some of you on over the next few weeks onto the podcast.
Super.
Cool. So we'll bring the night to a close. And just to let people know, you can watch back the show that the lads did earlier with Tom from the Bournemouth podcast and all about Eddie Howe, the Howe handover. And also coming up on Monday night at 8 p.m, as we mentioned earlier, we've got Ben. So keep an eye out for that. And enjoy the game over the weekend, everyone. Hopefully we get the 3 points, our first win. It would be nice. It would take some of the pressure off. But whatever you do, have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks, Evans, for coming on. And we'll talk to you again. Take care.
Thanks, pal.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I know. Good luck.